How you doing, everybody? Nick DiVirgilio here, and today's video is about this Trick Drums 100th anniversary Buddy Rich snare drum. A beautifully built snare drum, sounds great, it's so much fun to play, and it honors the late great Buddy Rich, who would have turned 100 years old in 2017 this year. And if I'm not mistaken, I think his birthday is coming up this September. It's May right now while we're shooting this video. September 30th, I think, is his birthday. A fantastic snare drum that's been signed off by Buddy Rich's daughter, Cathy. And it's a collaboration between Mike Dorfman, who is the owner and CEO of Trick Drums, and the Rich family. Let's get into the details of this snare drum. I'll play it some more for you, tune it up, tune it down. I'll use a few different accessories to give you some different options of what this snare drum can sound like. So let's get going. The first thing I want to talk about for this drum is the shell. It's AL13 aerospace aluminum. Now, if you don't know Trick Drums, I highly encourage you to check them out because Mike Dorfman does everything with this high-grade aerospace aluminum, from his hi-hat stands and his kick drum pedals to this drum right here. It's a nice thin aluminum shell that projects, has great tone, and will work in any style of music. Whether you rock, whether you funk, whether you R&B, house of worship, in the studio live, this would be a great option to add to your collection. And as drummers, of course, we always want to collect other snare drums. They put this beautiful, old-school looking vintage wrap on the outside to give it that kind of Buddy Rich feel for sure. Out of the box, the drum is outfitted with an Aquarian texture-coated head that has the Buddy Rich logo, the BR badge here. It says Aquarian drum heads on the bottom. I put on a regular texture-coated Aquarian head just so I don't scuff up this nice brand new head. I just definitely wanted to show you what comes in the box. The head I have on the drum right here is exactly the same. And Aquarian's texture-coated head is a single-ply head. It's very similar to a Remo Ambassador or an Evans G1. Single-ply coated head, just the coating's a little bit different, and the glue they use to glue the head into the collar is a little bit different, but they're relatively the same. Let me play this drum a little bit more for you right now, then I'll get into the details of all the hardware and show you the inside of the drum and everything. Again, very sensitive all the way to the edge and back into the center. Got a nice dry aluminum ring to it. You could definitely take that ring out by using a little moon gel, a little bit of tape, something like that if you don't want the ring. Put on a dry head, like a Genera Dry from Evans. That would work well to get rid of a little bit of that ring, but that ring is what makes aluminum drums sound the way they do. So it's very beautiful, it's musical, and doesn't get in the way of the sound of the drum at all. What I like is the sensitivity right in the center. You could do all those buzz kinds of rolls and buzzes in your left hand while you're grooving very easily. And the ghost notes compared to the louder strokes are way different, so you really can hear the difference in velocity, which is nice when you're grooving along. Let me play this drum now for you without the snare wires on. Good musical tone. You put this with the rest of the drum kit with the snare wires off, and you get some great musical intervals between the toms and the snare drum. There's triple flanged 10-hole hoops on the top and bottom here. Great side stick sound. With the butt of my stick, the aluminum shell, and this triple flanged hoop, the side stick really projects. That is loud. Okay, now let's get into the details of the rest of the drum. Let's start with the hardware. Really cool looking vintage style beaver tail lugs. Beautiful, fit this drum just perfectly. And by the way, this drum is a 5.5 by 14. I didn't mention that earlier. 5.5 by 14. And the spacing of these beaver tail lugs in here is just perfect. Really nice. The strainer and the throw-off for this drum is Trick GS007. Fantastic strainer and throw-off. It's really easy to use. In the play-in, when I was at the beginning of the video, you saw me kind of mess with it a little bit because it's really easy to use. Snare wires on this direction and back off the other direction. And what's cool about this strainer and throw-off is that you get 3 different snare wire positions. So you can get kind of loose, a medium, and then all the way tight if you so choose. The bottom head on this snare drum is an Aquarian classic clear snare side, nice thin resonant snare head. You also get Trick snare wires that are very sensitive and will last you a really long time. One final thing about this throw-off over here is that they laser engraved Buddy Rich's logo and his signature on the strainer. I'm going to take the head off of this drum and show you the inside of the shell here in just a second. I'm also going to tune the drum down and play it with some different tunings. But the last thing I want to show you on the drum itself is this badge. A beautifully made CNC engraved Buddy Rich badge. It's got the BR logo. It's what he used to put on his kick drum. It's big and thick. It stands out from the white shell. Very cool accompaniment to a great looking snare drum. All right, now I brought the pitch down a little bit, maybe a third or so from where it was. Gives this drum a great rock feel. If you like playing classic rock AC/DC style, just straight ahead, 2 and 4, loud rock music, this would be killer for that application. Another great way to get some cool tones out of this particular drum is use some accessories. I have the big fat snare drum pad I use a ton in the studio and live. Just throw this guy on top of the snare drum and all of a sudden you have a very dry, deep, thuddy snare drum sound just like that. This drum is really versatile, so whether you use an accessory or just retune the drum, even a different head combination, you get a lot of great sounds out of this particular snare drum. So before we close off this video, I'm going to take the head off and I want to show you the inside of this drum. All right, the head is now off the drum. First thing I want to talk about is the shell, the edge on this aluminum shell. The wrap comes all the way up to the top, and then it's very smoothly cut all the way around, so whatever drum head you're going to use on this drum will sit on just perfectly and give you a great tone. Another really cool feature is the inside of every drum is personally signed by Cathy Rich. You can see the signature right there. There's also a badge on the inside with Buddy Rich's signature, and it tells you what number drum this is. This particular drum is number 32. If you want any more information about this Trick 100th anniversary Buddy Rich snare drum or any other Trick product, just contact your Sweetwater sales engineer. And thanks a lot for watching this video.